It's time. And before I get started, make sure to check out the F the Nice Guy podcast latest episode that dropped yesterday. So someone tagged me right here in a video about George O'Malley from Grey's Anatomy. Go watch the original video, click the comment, and you can see it. But I, too, like the original creator of the video, am Team Bus. Because if you need a nice guy example in popular TV shows, look no further. There's so much to get into here, but let's just talk about some of the basic facts about good old George. So here's George in his true original form with the moppy head and everything. Just look at this nice guy expression. Now, we knew he was a nice guy from the very beginning. Like, that was his entire character. And this was particularly obvious when paired against, McDreamy over here, McSteamy. Or even compared to Alex, who had a way with the ladies. George was different. George was the guy that everyone could count on. He saw himself as the nice guy amongst all these, egotistical doctors or want-to-be doctors. Like when Izzy had all of her lingerie and modeling photos plastered all over the locker room, he was the one that tried to stop her from going in there. He was so worried about all of the ladies' feelings all the time. Or was he? Now, I could talk all day about how absolutely dirty he does Callie when he cheats on her with Izzy. His best friend that always treated her like trash and did a lot of mean things to her. Or I could talk about the fact how George, along with the show, tried to gaslight all of us collectively as the audience by making us believe he'd always had a thing with Izzy or had always liked her, which was just not the case and was super weird. Now, George was like puppy dog in love with Meredith for, I don't even know how many of the seasons, but definitely a big chunk of the first couple. And George knew that Meredith did not feel the same. But there is a scene where they actually hook up. And I rewatched it, and it is so disturbing. What? Because let me give you the context of this scene. So, he is supposedly her best friend, meaning he knows everything that's going on in her life. So Meredith has had her heart broken with the whole Derek situation. There had just been a BOMB in someone that she had to do surgery on, which was very traumatic. And her delirious mother just told her that she was having an affair with her father. So she had just gone to talk to her father after, checking my notes, the 2 decades that they hadn't spoken. She's like, "Why did you leave? You abandoned me," essentially. Ugh. Then she gets drunk. And then she's drunk and at her house, clearly depressed, no emotion on her face. Anybody seeing that would be like, "Oh my God, girl, how can I help you?" But nice guy George O'Malley decides, this is my moment. When she's drunk and depressed, it's dark out, I should barge into her room and confess my love. I'm going to show you that moment. Just the most nice guy speech to ever have been uttered.
I know I'm not a world-renowned surgeon. And I know I'm not a lot of things that you've gone for in the past. I know. But I would never leave you. I would never hurt you. And I will never stop loving you.
Aside from the obvious of why that's just Meredith, who has just been somewhat abandoned by Derek, who doesn't want to be with her right now, and has just had a conversation with her father about being abandoned. And we all know she had a troubling relationship with her mother, who has just revealed in a state of delirium that she had an affair. He now is saying to her in that moment while processing all of that trauma, "I will never leave you. I will never hurt you." Which bullshit. And I'm not saying that just because he hurts her very quickly after this, but just because you can't promise that. We all hurt each other all the time. It's a bullshit thing to say. And definitely not okay to say to someone who's in that state. Because all she needs right now and all she wants is to be loved. And here comes the nice guy best friend saying, "I'll do that for you," to get laid. Because he wants to be with her. Yep. Not because it's in her best interest. And if you're like, Reagan, you're being too harsh on him. Like, he really did love her this whole time. I was going to show you the footage, but I actually find it really disturbing, so I'm not going to do that. But there's a scene where they're having sex, and she begins to bawl. Like, she's sobbing. And he realizes this. And she's essentially like, no, it's fine. And what does he say to that? What does he say to the woman he would never hurt? The woman he cares about so deeply. He literally is like, I'm sorry, sleeping with me is so disgusting for you. And she's like, no, George. Bawling. She's bawling at this point. And he storms out of the room and slams the door on her. Doesn't seem very nice. Your friend is weeping in the bedroom, so let's make this about you. And it's crazy because the show is as much a participant in making him the nice guy as just the character. Like, he is then the victim of the situation from that point on. He literally, the next episode, is the narrator, after Meredith Grey being the only narrator up until that point. And, like, she's talking to Alex about the fact that they had sex. He walks in on that. He thinks she's told everyone. And then they're on the stairwell. And he's like, you told everyone we had sex. I wasn't going to tell everyone. Which then, in fact, tells everyone because she hadn't told everyone. And they're all like, what? You guys had sex? And then the show has him fall down the stairs. Like, they're like, we haven't made him sympathetic enough. We haven't made him the victim enough. Let's just, like, have him fall down a flight of stairs so everybody really feels bad for him. And it's, like, played out like she needs to make it up to him that he's the injured party. And Izzy, who's friends with both of them, is like, just so you know, I'm on his side. And Meredith is made out to be, like, this cold B word for doing it. And he's, like, just the lovable boy who just had such feelings for her, and she took advantage of him. Who took advantage of who in that situation? So, as previously mentioned, I am Team Bus. It is interesting that he died just as he lived, being the nice guy.